Hello everybody, welcome back to Boise Entrepreneur Week Live. My name is Jacob Grinwis, I'm our co-chair. We're really looking forward to interviewing the 6 finalists in this next live stream segment. And with that said, let's bring on our first 2 pitch competition finalists. Get on in here, get on in the studio, grab a seat. We've got this lovely Boise Entrepreneur Week mic. Shout out to Sean on the media team, our audio tech. Welcome, thanks for coming on this morning.
Thanks, Jacob, it's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. It's great to have you. Allie, Ann, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're building and pitching in tonight's competition.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Ann Maxson. I'm a pharmacist by training. And as such, I've kind of come to see all of those communication breakdowns that happen between patients and providers, as well as a lack of ongoing support for patients while they're taking medications. And so I developed a company called Effectiv, which provides text-based support for patients through medication check-ins that helps them know what they need to do with their medications, as well as helps their providers know how to better take care of them.
And I remember from a previous pitch, so the goal of Effectiv is to improve adherence. You're prescribed a medication, it's especially if you're prescribed multiple medications, it becomes complex and difficult to manage how much to take, when to take them, all of that stuff. Your platform helps streamline and make that process more efficient.
Yes, it helps make that more efficient, and it helps patients really kind of dig in and get discrete data about what's going on. So sometimes, especially with certain types of medications like antidepressants, the side effects hit first and the efficacy hits later. And so this is something that will kind of help them keep track of what's really going on and be able to see when that efficacy kicks in. So they're able to look back a little bit and be like, okay, things are getting better and the side effects are getting less.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Allie, tell us a little bit about what you're building. What's your background?
I'm a physicist by training.
A pharmacist and a physicist.
That's right.
And Allie, I see this is a good combo.
Well suited. So I'm the CEO founder of Alaris Tools. We're solving the acute problem of there's not enough skilled tradesmen and technicians in America for heavy industry. So how we solve that problem is we take the tribal and tacit knowledge in foremen's heads, and we're able to scale that so that we can train more green hires to meet the needs of heavy industry here in America and abroad.
And I recall you have a name for those industry veterans, and they are called the...
We call them the Bobs, although more often than not, they are Daryl's or Gary.
Okay, Bob.
And
Daryl's.
It is funny, like, where did all the Garys go? They're retiring. It's a problem. So we have to capture knowledge documentation of the trades, where unlike white collar work, there's not a lot of documentation. And AI doesn't work unless you have the data to train it on. So our specialty is documenting and what we call codifying blue-collar genius. So that's what we do.
Right, and blue-collar genius is often tribal knowledge. It's
right.
years of
100%.
experience being in the trenches, working hands-on with the jobs. And your platform is SMS-based, right?
Yes, the main platform we call our Sidekick, so we can make our technicians the hero. And I've been doing AI for blue-collar work since I was 23. I'm 40 now. And if you try to build a product and then make them change their workflow, like make them use a desktop or an app when they don't normally, so change behavior, you're going to get really low adoption rates, as in they're just not going to use it. So the current workflow is when a young technician has a question, they either don't ask because they're scared of the boomer. I mean, fair enough. Or
Bobs are scary.
yeah,
You don't.
I mean, they can
coffee.
be. They can be.
They can also be sweethearts.
Yes, exactly. They're usually both. How
Yeah.
about that? Scary answer.
They're complex. They're
they
layered.
are. Or they will text their foreman, or they will more likely, believe it or not, text a group text. So this is their current workflow. So we stay in that workflow. So we have an SMS version, so they can text us in addition to Gary or Bob. So adoption rates and staying in their workflows is, I think, really key to when your end users are technicians.
Wonderful. So if I'm no PhD physicist, but you've been doing AI for 23 years. That means you've been doing it before AI was a hot topic.
When we called it ML,
Yeah,
machine
ML.
learning. I've just been told I'm an AI. I'm like, that's news to me, but thank you.
That's hilarious. Well, and your background as a pharmacist, we could spend the rest of this segment talking about your backgrounds, but we'll get to hear that in tonight's pitch competition. So I want to pivot a little bit to the pitch competition itself. What has preparing for this been like? And then my second question for each of you is, what would winning mean for your startup?
I think preparing for it has been so cool because it's really made me dig even deeper into my company, which I thought I was in really deep before, but this has really forced me to dig deep from the perspective of getting the sound bites, right? Like being able to fit the information that we want to present within a 6 to 7 minute time frame really makes you think about, okay, what are the most important things here?
It's a huge challenge. That time when you're on stage goes by like that.
Yeah, and so that's been good. And then, I mean, the support that Trailhead provides is just phenomenal in many aspects, but especially with the pitch competition, the opportunity to work with a mentor and be able to connect with them and get the support from them and get their set of eyes on it, which it's always nice to have somebody else look at your business because their perspective will be very different from your own. So that's been nice. As far as the prize money, I mean, it would be transformational for us as a way to help us, especially from the perspective of we're about to start doing a beta test. And we're starting that right now, and being able to hire someone on from a data contractor and someone who understands that data side of things would be very helpful for us.
Winning, what would it mean to us? Well, the $50,000 we'd invest in like a local job, which would be nice. But I think more importantly, I'm newish to town, and I get a lot of grief from my Silicon Valley crowd for like, where is Idaho? So it would be really lovely. You know, it's, you know, when you're building, you have to answer a lot of questions from the coast and investors when you're building outside of the coast. And you really have to go uphill and put a stake in the ground of like, no, I'm basing it here. And it makes sense. We do blue collar work. Idaho is the perfect place for a startup like mine, as opposed to like white collar Palo Alto. But you really do have to there's a cost, so to speak, to doing a startup out here as opposed to one of the coasts. And it would really just personally mean a great deal to me to have the community behind us and our vision. And there is just something, you can't build a company alone. And so to know the community was behind us and this grand vision we have would mean something to me.
Yeah, I can imagine the process, and I have an econ background, and there's this concept called spillover benefits, why cities move so much more quickly. There's more people, more talent bumping into each other more quickly. Physics.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can imagine here there's less people to bump into, but when you do bump into the right people, you kind of get pushed into a segment or a corner of the ecosystem where you start bumping into those people a lot more quickly. What's been the difference in your experience building your previous company in the ecosystem that you did versus the kind of support you're seeing in Boise and in Idaho now as you build Alaris?
Well, it's true that I don't bump into VCs like here. I don't bump into angels where I would in a past life. But I do bump into my users. Like my children play on the same sports teams as technicians. And so that's why I think it's such an excellent fit for this town, just particular for Alaris. But yeah, for recruiting, like one of the main jobs as a founder of a fast-growing company is hiring. That's my big thing. And so how do I get world-class talent to move to Boise? I mean, on a beautiful day like this, it's actually not much of a sell.
The beautiful foothills, the river,
The trick is I
Bogus.
just have to literally just get them out here on a plane and bring their spouse. And then maybe like show them the local market, because I know we think house prices are high, but compared. So it is, You have to be really committed to like building a startup if you want a unicorn that's outside the coast. But it's been done before. You have Braddock Count, you have Clearwater, you have, it can be done, but I do think it takes the whole community to gather what resources we do have and like really push together. And so far I've had that support in Boise.
Live streamers, do you hear that? It takes the community to show up and support.
Oh, but they're live streamers?
Oh yeah,
Oh, God.
We got lots watching. That I think is a great segue. We're out of time. Allie and Ann, good luck to both of you in the pitch competition. I'm excited to see what you present and how things shake out. Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah. I can take the mic. All right. That was Ann Maxson and Allie Knight, two founders pitching in tonight's Boise Entrepreneur Week Pitch Competition Finals. Let's bring on our next pair of founders. Get on in the studio. Yes. All right. Jordan Roper, Stephen Pentland, thank you both so much for joining us on BEW Live. Our audience is very interested to learn what you're building and what you're feeling going into tonight's finals. Take a second, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your business, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Like I said, I'm Jordan Roper. I'm a film composer. So I do music for movies, television, commercials, and video games. And my company is Music Masters. So it's a more effective way for kids to be able to get their music education in a more fun and intuitive way. So we're basically trying to create a combination of like Guitar Hero and Fortnite and Mortal Kombat and all these different things like all into one game.
I love it.
Where you're battling with your instruments, but you can do it with an acoustic instrument. So instead of plugging it in, you're doing it on your piano or your flute or your guitar or whatever it might be. That doesn't have to be plugged in, and then it can tell you if you're playing the right notes at the right time and the right pitch.
The microphone on the device picks it all
Exactly.
up. Okay.
And then they'll have their school-issued devices to be able to allow them to do that. So it's not, the cool thing about this is it's a lot less income-based of can we afford this game. It's an app that they can, there's free versions of, and then there's of course like monthly subscriptions to where they can be able to really get a lot more access. And then the other really fun thing about that too is that this is, because it's an educational technology, this can be done in schools all over the world. So this is something that is really going to help educators as well. I've been there when, as an educator in the past, when it was like I don't have the resources or the time to be able to give them what they need, and this would really help them as well. So I'm excited to be here. This has been great.
All right, music education. Now let's turn to higher education. Stephen, tell us a little bit about what you're building.
Yeah, I'm with Rhetorix Lab. We're about authentic assessment and sort of the age of AI, right? We're trying to balance the use of AI among students. They're going to have to use it in the workforce. But as educators, we need to ensure that they possess the knowledge that they should possess, right? So we do that through structured oral exams that are scalable, very similar to grading as standard written assignments. And if you sort of think back to the history, sort of go back to the days of the Greeks and how knowledge was assessed, it was almost exclusively assessed through oral communication. And we got away from that just because of the scalability problem with education, right? I think AI is sort of taking us back to our rhetorical roots, where it's the human voice is more important now than I think ever, right? And with all we can do with AI, I think a lot of it still comes down to humans, right? And what we have to offer, and really ensuring that people can critically think and all that. So yeah, we're excited to be here. We've had a lot of success with Rhetorix Lab at Boise State, and we're looking forward to growing the company.
Wow, thanks for telling us a little bit more. I loved that piece of the human voice being our original sort of way to communicate authenticity and thought. I'm forgetting the quote, you just said it. It was like going back to our rhetorical roots. I think that is what sets human intelligence apart from artificial intelligence. So super excited to learn more about that in tonight's pitch competition. So pivoting to tonight's pitch competition, I just want to ask you both what the process of preparing has been like, what things have stuck out to you, what's been the most challenging, Tell us a little bit about your mentor and how working with them has been. And then what would winning tonight's $50,000 do for your business?
Yeah, the cool thing about preparing for this has been obviously multi-leveled. So we've been working on this for a couple of years, and then in preparing for this, it kind of like shored up and clarified, hey, there's certain paths that we can take that we may not have seen before that I was able to see in preparing for this, of different ways to be able to access what we need for things that investors have asked for in the past. And the Piano Guys is a huge consultant that we've been using, and they've given us some advice that in preparing for this, we've been able to realize more things that we can do. And so that's been just really, really helpful, being able to take the slides that we've had in the past and investor pitches that we've had in the past and really just solidify those. And in doing so, again, like I said, it was like, oh man, there's some really cool pathways here that we didn't see before, because it wasn't just me taking a guy out for drinks or for dinner and giving him the pitch for the video game.
Totally.
It was a whole lot more than that. So
when you have a rubric and a time limit and 10
Exactly.
judges scrutinizing every move and word,
Yeah.
you have to think strategically.
Yeah.
Every word counts, and that 6 minutes goes by way quicker than you think
my
it
gosh,
does.
so fast. And then the other thing, that 50,000 would be a huge help, because there's been two things that we've had multiple investors say, especially the Piano Guys, which have been, you got to have the top 100 Billboard songs licensed. Like, until you have those licensed, it's just talk, because that's what kids are going to want. They're going to want
Right.
Taylor Swift. They're going to want that goofy chicken nugget song on YouTube. Like, they're going to want things that they want.
Yeah.
And it's not just Mozart and Bach. So we want to be able to give that to them. So this will get us the top 100. And then also being able to show verifiable data that kids have been able to improve, that students have utilized this tool and seen improvement over a semester or 2 semesters. This will be able to expand our current MVP to be able to make it to where when the kids get on and play that demo, we'll be able to track and say, here's where they were this semester, here's where they are now. And our current MVP, you can play it and it's fun, and you can be able to show like, hey, this works, this is really neat. But that's what we created it for, is to show we did it. And now they're like, oh, you did it, but we need to be able to show that it actually works and it's actually improving kids' skills and knowledge base in music.
Yeah.
And the 50 would be able to do both of those.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm really loving the overlapping themes here of like the production of the actual learning and like what that outcome is moving through both of your platforms. It's something that's imperfect, progress driven, and assisted with artificial intelligence and technology. Rather than dictated by it.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
for sharing. Stephen, I'd love to hear, what's the process of preparing for this pitch competition been like?
It's sort of funny because it's, my day job, I'm a professor at BSU, and I get to stand up and talk for an hour and 15 minutes, right? And so having that format, I've been getting used to that format, and then going to hey, you have 7 minutes to get all this information in, right? And so for me, trying to squeeze everything into that short amount of time is the most challenging part, but it really highlights the importance of very concise, effective communication, right? And the process of taking our pitch deck and really refining it and refining the message and ensuring that we can get it across quickly has been a huge help, I think. There's one thing preparing for the pitch competition, but it also just prepares us to talk to other people about it, right? And to quickly highlight what we're trying to do. And so it's been a huge help, I think, for the growth and the progress of the company.
And what would winning that 50K mean for your business?
We have a proof of concept system that we've gotten into. I think we're at 25 courses at Boise State. We've had, I think, over 1,500 oral assessments with students. So we have a product that's worked well and proves that what we're doing works. But that 50,000 will allow us to go from our 25 courses to 10,000 courses, right? And really build out the application and give it the features that the educators we're speaking to want in the system. And so it really helped us get out and start really engaging with students, engaging with more educators around the country as well as the world.
That's incredible. I cannot wait to hear more about what you're building tonight at the finals. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Steven, so much for joining us. And good luck tonight. We'll be rooting for
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, audience, show up again. Pitch competition starts at 5:30. We've got a happy hour at 5 p.m. right before. Come by and hear how these two are changing education using technology moving forward. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining. All right. Okay, we're grabbing another chair. Sit tight. You know it's really live. All right. I like sit on the coffee table.
Exactly, you're like up on the left.
I love Drew Barrymore. Oh, guys, welcome. Welcome to BEW Live. Thanks for joining us for your finalist interview. Let's just kick things right off. Tell us a little bit about who you are, and what you're building.
Yeah, I am Oliver MacDonald. I am the co-founder of Q-Tex AI, and we are building an AI co-pilot that enables engineers to build better products faster. We really help electronics engineers, or those who design everything from your watches to pacemakers to the cameras being used in the studio, as electronics are in everything nowadays.
Smartphone.
So what are we looking at?
So this is my smartphone, a Samsung Galaxy S21. Thank you very much. It has like 5 circuit boards in it. There's actually one inside the battery to make sure that it doesn't overcharge and blow up. If anybody remembers, like, I think it was the Note 7, you couldn't fly with those.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a circuit board in there to prevent that from happening. So all of these circuit boards take a lot of time to design, super complex, and it takes
Very
a whole. Yeah, and they're very small. And thanks.
So
It takes-
using your, if I understand correctly, using your AI tool, I'd be able to ask this bot to help me find the correct microchip to prevent my battery from exploding, and I could look at a variety of different options. What would that have taken me time-wise to do without your product?
It could easily have taken you like 10 or 20 hours.
Okay.
Now you can do it in like a minute.
Wow. Okay, that's a good value proposition.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Josh, tell us a little bit about what you're building.
Yeah, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of Scout AI, and Scout is a digital service agent for contractors. So our goal is to reduce overhead from sales commissions, training, and field management.
Okay.
Yes.
And you have a background in the construction industry. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And how this ties in. Like, where did the aha moment come from?
Yeah, so I was scaling my service business to around $5 million in revenue over 6 years, and just the bottleneck is turnover for sales teams, training. In our industry, it's about a 50-50 split. So after 10% overhead and profit, the company will split sales commissions with the field agents. So even though our industry does $50 billion in service sales a year, we take home 25% of that. So
Wow.
as overall, Scout is a digital answer to allow contractors to scale and actually have e-commerce happen for them, which is unique because like Amazon, you can sell shoes. Contractors combine manufactured products and their labor as a service. So that's what we're helping them do, is sell service online.
I see. So, if I understand correctly, instead of a PDF coming into my inbox and having to look over all of the terms, all of the specs, all of the different line items associated with the deal, I get a nice animated AI agent
Yeah.
that enters my inbox and walks me through the sales step by step.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is it's the first visual digital agent. Like, a lot of people understand ChatGPT to be a chatbot and you're interacting with that in text. Scout, as we'll see tonight, is a full digital character, one of the first of many. We plan to expand into Latino to have representation because the Hispanic market's about 13% who have almost no representation in the sales software space. So yeah, just trying to reinvent the way that people can sell service online.
Wonderful. Wow. So I want to pivot over to your experience preparing for the pitch competition. But I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach than I have with the other pitchers, because you guys have all been through multiple of Trailhead's programs, Boise Pitch Night, Tree City Trailblazers, Boise Entrepreneur Week, even some of you. Tell us a little bit about what this experience has been like. What's the path for each of you been leading up to this moment where you're pitching for $50,000 in cash tonight?
Yeah, so for me, it's been an interesting, pitching is way harder than you think. And to say something impactful in as few words as possible is incredibly challenging, especially when you're passionate about what you're doing. 7 minutes evaporates into thin air. So, I mean, my journey has come from not finishing in year one to now being here in the finals. So I have a ton of respect for people that do it, and it's incredibly challenging. You see people go up there and you think, how hard could it be to cover 8 slides? And it's honestly tremendous, and you have to be as compelling as possible in the shortest amount of time. So it's not that you don't have plenty to say, it's how do you say the least amount possible, which for me is been tough, I know, for everybody. But
when you're building these companies, it is your life. You wake up and you eat, sleep, and breathe what you're building.
And you're so close to the product that it's sometimes, depending on, and we were talking about this before, depending on what part of the funnel you're in, that's what you're obsessed with that month to 2 to 3 months. So it's really hard to zoom out and have a composite of the other 8 sections that make up the company.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is interesting, and you really have to take time to just hit the reps, buy a stopwatch, have it up, watch your time. That's what I ended up having to do for sure.
Well, we're rooting for you tonight. Good luck.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys.
Totally agree that it is really hard, and I'm saying this as I literally just got off a mountain bike ride, so my mind is in a different spot. But it's really hard to concisely talk about exactly what you're doing. And I think in particular, one of the things that Oliver and I have struggled with is we're both engineers. We have a very technical background, and we really know exactly the problem we're solving. But like most people are not engineers. No. And we've actually had people say, like, okay, you said your product is for engineers. Like, my eyes glazed over, I'm out. It's like, okay, well. So, like, how do we concisely say what we're doing in a compelling way that isn't super technical and anyone can understand? And we're still figuring it out, right? Like, we iterate on it. We refine with every pitch as we get feedback. And that's really, I mean, we spend so many hours practicing, but, like, that's really what we do is we iterate and we refine the message so that anyone, not just engineers, not just our customers and the people we work with, can understand what we're doing.
Yeah, well said. And plus, when you're practicing and you do refine, it's like you don't want to have to revert to like older saved files, because you'll start to say something naturally, and then depending on how many weeks ago that you iterated and changed, you'll accidentally go back to the original save file.
Yeah, how many? I could imagine both of you probably just have hundreds of pitch deck iterations at this point. I've seen those folders, and they're always impressive, but it's kind of a story, Like I know that all 3 of you have come through multiple different pitch competitions. You've had moments of success and victory. You've had moments of crashing and burning. It just comes with it, and it's part of the entrepreneurial journey. And I've seen you guys really lean into that. So I'm super excited to see how your pitches have culminated for tonight's competition. And on that note, I think just to close us out, I'd love to know what winning that $50,000 cash prize would mean for your business.
That's a great question.
Do you want to go first, or should I?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so the impact for us for sure is going to be able to keep a large portion of our business in Boise. So what we intend to do with the prize money if we win is build out our complete end-to-end render system. So instead of having to source overseas in order to render frames and to build the animation track, we're able to build that in Boise and keep the jobs in Boise, which I think is part of the spirit of Boise Entrepreneur Week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, kind of similar to that, our team is all based in Boise. So all of our software work happens here. And what the 50,000 will help us do is build V2 of our product, which is already in the works. It's already being tinkered with on the early stages, but we're seeing really great adoption and getting awesome feedback from engineers. And it's really going to let us build the next generation of our tool and really put us way ahead of anyone else, like any of our competitors, which like is cool, but it's going to help us build the best product for engineers, which is really what we care about.
And that's a good use of money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, fellas, good luck tonight. I can't wait to see what you pitch on stage. We'll be rooting for you. For all of our live stream viewers, thank you for tuning in to BEW Live. We'll be right back. We've got an awesome conversation with Bobby Joe from the Boise Chamber and our CEO and Executive Director at Trailhead, TM Rastegar. We'll be right back, but first, a word from our sponsors.